Hey Danny, how you doing?
Hello.
Hello?
Do you like bees? Oh God, how are you, Lewis?
I'm not so bad, I'm sat here in the study. I have my computer. I have a good friend to chat to about one of my favourite films.
Who's that?
I've got a big old mug of tea.
Who's the friend? Is someone joining us?
And no, it's the hamster that sits on my desk.
Oh!
His name is Ferdinand.
I thought it was the broken William Riker that you have.
Yeah, Riker's sat there on my desk.
Just
broken.
mocking you. Laughing.
Is Riker also a 20-a-day smoker in this situation?
Yeah. He's got one of those things you have to put up to your throat. It's like, you know, the robot ones.
I think I do know what you're talking about, yes.
The voice boxes are so like irrevocably fucked, where it's just like, hiya, how you doing? Like that. It's like a bit like the Cybermen or something like that. There's a lot. There's a lot of them in Scotland. A lot of them. There's a show called
Cybermen or
what?
Cybermen or
Oh! We're cracking the jokes out early this week, folks. No, I mean the.
Prepare for the humour to only go downhill.
Yeah, no, I mean the very bad smoking addiction, Lewis. But
I see.
Not the Cybermen, but there's a show called Chewing the Fat where they depict two people with these sort of devices, and they smoke constantly, and there's this scene where they have this cat, and it's sort of like beige, and they're petting it and all that, and it's like, oh, he's so cute. I know, he's adorable. And then it passes for a wee bit, and it's like, oh, that's quite nice. And then it's like, they say, I remember when this cat was white. Ah ha 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 ha. Like that.
I see. Quality programming.
It really, yeah. Won a ton of awards.
It's raking in the awards. Cleared up at the Oscars.
Got an Emmy, no, a Scottish Emmy, which
a semi.
Yeah,
he got a semi.
couldn't even get a semi. I made that joke in the whispering into the void, but from your perspective, it hasn't been released yet, so it should still work.
What?
I might look a bit silly on Tuesday, but who cares? No, a Scottish Emmy is just a twig with a smiley face on it.
Like Mr. Nailfingers from the 4 o'clock club.
Yeah, that. Oh, remember that?
I remember reading that script and thinking, Mr. Nailfingers, what the hell is that? And then they handed it to you and thinking, oh my god!
Yeah, it was a bit of wood with nails pointing out of it, and it sort of resembled a face, and that was Eli's obsession that week. You know, it was either that or a psychic bladder.
Well, we all have psychic bladders, Danny.
Oh, of course we do. But that's not even what I was. This isn't even the bullshit, Lewis.
Is it not?
We've done 4 minutes already. Come on.
I'm going to count this as bullshit. In editing, I'm going to say no, bullshit starts at 0000.
No.
This is all top grade bullshit. You can spread this on your fields, mate.
Yeah, you can get some crops growing. I'll spin.
Yeah.
I'll spin the wheel. Right, I'll spin it right there.
Sorry, the way you told that joke about, get some crops growing. It's like you were just desperately searching for some kind of a joke about farming or growing food. Sorry, the way you told that joke really tickled me.
I wasn't even. Isn't that what? I'm sure you can do that. That's an.
Oh no, you can.
Yeah.
It's sorry. Right.
I was given some decent advice.
Spin the wheel
to the farmers of this
country.
Spin the wheel. Lewis. God's sake! I know we can't sow our fields with fucking pasta. Right? Okay.
The irony is, you could grow wheat and then have some chickens. Then you could bake some pasta.
Fuck off. Right, okay. Lego.
Lego my ego?
Yeah.
I see. Why are we chatting about Legos? Have you what's happened in the Lego universe?
Not like Lego.
I like Lego too.
Yeah, you get
for Christmas or my birthday this year. Dad actually got me a massive box of Lego.
Oh,
It has sat in the living room for a while, but it was an excellent present.
that's lovely.
I keep looking over at it and thinking maybe I'll make a spaceship or some such thing.
Yeah.
I have not done so, but
or a decent season of Doctor Who, or sorry,
with a crate of Lego.
Sorry, Doctor Who.
It's very well filmed.
Yeah.
The camera works really
At
good.
least you try.
At least you appeared to have a go.
I know, Doctor Who, we won't be too harsh on you. It's either you that we have a go at, or Friends, or J.K. Rowling. The Holy Trinity.
The holy trinity of hatred on this podcast is J.K. Rowling, Friends, and Doctor Who. we have to hate on at least one of them every episode.
Definitely. What's the most impressive thing you've ever built with Lego, Lewis?
Well, I built a TARDIS interior.
What?
You know Matt Smith's TARDIS that was like sort of copper dominated?
Yeah.
And it had that sort of main central console with the wood panelling on the top bit.
I certainly do.
I was gifted by my parents or my grandparents or something a million years ago, this interior TARDIS Lego set. So it was like a kit, and you took the pieces out and built this interior of a TARDIS. It was very good. That's the most impressive thing I've ever built out of Lego.
Oh. So you didn't really
No, I didn't design it, but it was certainly impressive.
Well, I mean, anyone can build a Lego set, Lewis. What I was looking for was something a bit original, something with
original.
your flair on it, something that belongs to you.
The only thing that springs to mind is a billion years ago, when I was a very small child. I had this like model train table thing that was like at kid height, basically. Yeah. So the idea was it was like at hand height for small children, but also it had like barriers at the edge so your little trains wouldn't fall off. And at one point, after as a child, I grew out of an obsession with trains and Thomas the Tank Engine and whatever. And then I replaced it all with Lego. So I think I just bought a load of boxes of Lego and just scattered them all through the table sort of thing. Or my grandparents did, or whatever it might have been.
Yeah. And
the only thing I can remember is it used to be that my dad and I would each take an end of the table and build like a fort on each end of the table, as though like the middle was like a no man's land battleground type thing.
Yeah.
So I had a lot of like superhero Lego and stuff. So I'd be like, okay, I'm the Avengers and you're the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants or whatever. And then so I'd build like a fort or a castle or a whatever, and then yeah. That is what springs to mind. What's the most impressive thing you've ever built with Lego?
The country of Scotland. Yeah.
And did you start at England or did you start in the Hebrides?
No.
Which end did you start at?
No, just Scotland on its own, in a sea of independence. The Scottish devolved government came to me one morn and said, "Care, we need your help.
We've realised that we've lost Scotland. Can you build us another one?"
Yeah, this was directly after the independence referendum, and Nicola Sturgeon, whoever was leader at the time, came to me and she said, "Listen, son, I need you to build a replica of Scotland." And I was like, "Okay."
1-to-1 scale, please, yeah, with Lego.
What am I doing it with? Am I doing it with paper, wood, even stone? Maybe that could be nice. No, son. We've got you a £5 Star Wars Lego set. And if you don't make Scotland out of that, we're going to take away your right to shout freedom inexplicably at foreign locations. So I was like, wow, a lot's in the line here. So
that's something you do regularly. You climb to the top of a mountain, freedom, and then climb down to the bottom and shout it again, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I got to work. Took me 3 years, and I finally done it. So when the SNP announced their independence campaign, they'll show it, and it'll be amazing.
I see.
And they'll get the yes vote that they're so looking for. Yeah, but I'm impartial, funnily enough.
For the Scotland independence referendum thing.
I just like Lego. Someone, regardless of who they are, they give me Lego, I'm going to build it. I don't care who it is.
I mean, I'm immediately jumping to there's got to be some kind of a line.
I draw the line at the creator of Friends, J.K. Rowling,
and Chris Chibnall.
and Chris fucking Chibnall, yes. Those are the three that I would refuse point blank. But other than that...
So if Chris Chibnall came to you with some Lego and said, "Hi Danny mate, can you build a TARDIS for me?" You would say,
"Listen, Chibs, I've got Putin on the way. No, go away."
I see.
Vlad,
so now we know.
Vlad, baby, what have you got for me?
What's that? Is it Brooklyn Nine-Nine? Where one of the characters is like, I got some really cool new underwear, and they like pull the waistband up, and somebody looks at it and goes, "The Vladimir Putin collection."
Oh God, what is that?
Yeah, they are the Vladimir Putin collection, and they only raise in value. I think the Vulture says it in Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Just creepy haircuts and underwear shorts and cold lakes and dashes. I don't know. I can't really think what would go with Vladimir Putin.
What was that? Was it? It was like a G20 summit or something. Like, however, quite a long time ago, where they were like in a castle. It was being held in a castle, and so all these dignitaries and politicians were staying in this castle. Mm-hmm. And then there was like this breaking news release the next morning after they'd all settled in, where it was foreign body has been found in the moat of this castle. What could it possibly be? Could it be an attack on such and such politician's life? And this one weather girl, I remember watching this on the news. This weather girl said, "Oh, I reckon it was Vladimir Putin going for his morning swim," and it was like a bit of an offhand joke. Wow. And then it actually was that. Oh. Vladimir Putin had gotten up, looked out the window and gone, "Yep, that moat looks ripe for a swimming in." And he jumped out of the window or whatever, or went down to the front door, jumped in the moat and just went for a swim around the castle.
God, he's fucking nutty, isn't he? He's just out of his mind.
Yeah, he's not a great guy.
I thought you were going to say something horrible, that she was disappeared or something like that after that.
No.
But it had a creepy but benign ending, which isn't...
It did?
Which isn't bad, I guess.
Creepy but benign. That's what they're going to put on my tombstone.
They
Very friendly. Creepy but benign.
They sullied the moat water, though, but other than that...
Well, yeah, they had to drain the lake and refill it somehow, but yeah.
Drain the swamp. Oh, see what I did there?
Yes, very good. I'm incredibly impressed with that.
Satire. But back to Lego. How do we always do this? Always happens, regardless of what we're talking. We could be talking about Fifi and the flower tots, and then by the end of that conversation, and this is why the X.
And this is why the current political landscape is unsustainable.
Yeah, yeah, that's it. And this is why the election in Turkey was a disaster.
One day, we'll have to start a side podcast where it's just us ranting about obscure elections. Yeah. Like, New Zealand had a flag referendum ages ago now, like 4 or 5 years ago now. But I can just imagine us having a side podcast where we're like, the voting system is flawed and all the flags are far too similar. It's a terrible way to have a referendum.
And can I just say, the flag looks shite.
Going from Lego to referendum. Oh God, the best thing about the New Zealand flag referendum is it literally went on for weeks and weeks and weeks. I think it went on for several months, this referendum. And then in the end, they decided to have the same flag they'd always had. They decided to not change it. It's like,
wow.
What?
That's really quite boring. Someone must have just been in there like, no, wait a minute. All these flags are fucking shit. It's a bit Australian. I don't know what the intricate differences are between the New Zealand accent and the Australian accent.
I think it's a bit higher pitched. Like Taika Waititi is New Zealand, isn't he?
Yes.
I think he's Kiwi. I'm not sure.
A bit higher pitched, bit sort of.
Yeah, that's a bit more like it. You have to try and avoid going South African though. So good luck with that.
Yeah. Well, luckily that's the end of the bullshit. But yeah, that's 15 minutes.
That's 15 minutes. Got plenty of thing.
Yeah, we've got stuff to talk about now.
Yeah. What film are we chatting about this week, Dan?
Well, we put it off last week but
we did.
This is Arrival.
It's a bit of a showcase Sunday, this one. It's one of my favourite films. I really like it.
It's a very good film.
It's a very good...
film.
Oh, okay, right, yeah. I thought you were launching into some deep argument there for a second. But, yeah, it's one of my favourites. I love sci-fi movies. I really like this one. If you haven't seen it, while you're listening, go and check it out. Pause the podcast now. Yeah. Leave your phone on the side, watch the film, and then come back and continue playing the podcast.
Yeah, wait. Let's just have a wee pause, right? Just have a wee pause, and then we'll welcome them back as they've done that, right?
Okay.
Welcome back. Oh, I bet
Thank
you really
for
enjoyed.
Thank you. Film. Oh, I've missed you.
We've missed
I bet you really enjoyed it, didn't you?
Yeah. And now you get to hear us talk about it. What could be better on a Sunday evening? Okay, so it was it was directed by, fuck me, that's a hard name to pronounce. Denis Villeneuve.
I'm going to Google Arrival very quickly.
You forgot what we're talking about? Lewis is going to... Right, okay, we're going to pause the podcast. Lewis is going to watch the film.
I'm going to say that name is pronounced Denis Villeneuve. I'm not sure. Apologies
one?
for mispronouncing that.
Which
The
one?
director.
No. Is it Villeneuve or Villeneuve?
I think it's Villeneuve. That's what I'm going with.
We'll go with Villeneuve, and if we get that wrong, Dennis, we apologise profusely.
Yes.
Denis Villeneuve, and it was written by Eric Heiser, but it is based on the short story by Ted Chiang. It's Chaing. It's a short story called or a novella. Story of Your Life. That's the name of it. And it is starring...
I do love a good short story, you know. I really do love a good short story.
My favourite is Lamb to the Slaughter.
I'm not sure I've read that one.
You should, it's good.
There's this one out there, I think it's written by... I think it's Arthur C. Clarke, maybe, wrote this one. And it was something about a computer that keeps getting more and more intelligent as time goes on, and they keep asking it the same question, it never has an answer, or something. But yeah, anyway.
Damn. That sounds...
Yeah.
Thought-provoking. That wasn't a joke. I'm genuinely interested. I might read that. But it's starring Amy Adams, Jeremy Renner, Forrest Whitaker, and Michael Statberg.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. Fuck. Opening statements, Lewis.
Opening statements. I will now read the news. A fascinating insight into a hypothetical first contact. Would humans really work together like this in that situation? I don't know, but I like this film a lot.
Well, there you are. A touching or emotionally vulnerable addition to the cosmic horror genre that is ultimately about communication and cooperation. Consider perspectives that would otherwise seem alien before being hostile.
Indeedy.
Yeah. Well, we're on to creepy room questions now.
Indeed we are.
And my first question...
Okay.
What is time? a nice easy one to get us off.
I think this film posits the idea that time is like a thing that we exist within.
Yeah.
Because the point they're making is that by learning another language... The point they make in the film is that if you learn a language where the syntax is different, it starts to affect how your brain processes information. So the thing they propose in this film is, if you start to learn this alien language, when the aliens experience time all at once, sort of thing, then you will start to experience time in that same way, if you learn the language, sort of thing. That's the idea that the film comes up with.
Yeah.
So I think this film has the idea that time is a thing that we're in.
Yes. To quote the 10th Doctor, people assume that time is a strict progression of cause and effect, when actually, from a non-linear, non-subjective viewpoint, it's more like a big ball of wibbly-wobbly, timey-wimey stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'd say.
Yeah.
If I was in that position as the Doctor Who.
The Doctor Whom? Oh. Is time linear, Lewis?
I reckon it's not.
Yeah, and we wouldn't know, would we?
No, we'd have no idea.
If it was. So it's just endless. It's a circle that's just that probably people outside are watching. Like a television show. Because people in television shows don't know that time ends for them when the episode is over.
Yes, that's true.
Because they think that their actions are cause and effect, and they'd probably perceive time as we do in real life. But it's not. It's a thing, as you say.
There we go.
Yeah.
Right. Here's a question.
Go on.
What was the aliens' purpose for coming to Earth?
To warn humanity about a threat 3,000 years in the future, and getting humanity able, or trying to get humanity to understand their language so that they can be equipped to help.
I see. I like that a lot. That's cool. I did not realise that. I'm glad that we narrowed that one down.
Yeah. Did you mean in a sort of subtext, sort of reading between the lines purpose?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay. I think, yeah, the threat in 3,000 years, but we don't know if that means to them like next week or a million years into the future, because they perceive time so differently. But I think the ultimate reason that they're there is for communication.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, and maybe to show us what we're like when we're so set on not listening and not understanding other people. And that plays into their goal about the actual threat, because if everyone understands each other and there's no room for misinterpretation, as it was so, easy for the governments to just because the information that the governments were given were pieces of a larger sort of message.
Yeah.
And one was like, what is your purpose for being here? And one piece would say use weapon, and the Chinese were like, oh shit, they're going to attack us. And it's Dr. Banks then works it out, and it's like no, it's part of it's a jigsaw piece. It's like if human beings are set on misunderstanding, you can bet your arse that they will. So I think it's about sort of promoting. Maybe you should just take a step back and think a wee bit, have a wee objective meeting with yourself, which isn't bad.
Have a step back, have a think.
Yeah.
Right. I'm not communicating very well. Let's have another go.
Exactly. And a nice touch, just a wee thing. Dr. Banks' daughter's name, Hannah. It's a palindrome, and it sort of connects with a sort of endless time type thing, which I thought was nice.
I like that. That's cool. Yeah,
it's a cool thing. What other questions? What other burning philosophical shit?
It's not so much a philosophical question. It's a weird question about the film. If the aliens experience time all at once, sort of thing, then does that mean they're immortal? Because we presume that one of them dies, Abbott or Costello or whatever. We presume that one of them dies in that explosion.
Yeah.
But if it wasn't killed, would it just live forever, experiencing everything all at once, sort of thing?
Well, I would imagine it would be similar to the way the Doctor is immortal. Like, he or she ages and will die at some point, but not not now anyway, thanks to fucking Chibbers. But
good old Chibster, eh?
Before that dumpster fire, the Doctor would die, but not because that's where he's supposed to die in the grand time progression. It's just, he's in a sandbox and he got killed or something like that. It's a thing like you said. But I'd imagine that if they do age, we would never be able to know what their age rate is and whether they're aging, as they're speaking to us.
Yeah.
I think it's cosmic horror at its best because we have virtually no idea what these things are, other than they need our help.
It's like a 2-hour it's a 2-hour film about learning about these aliens, and we come out of it knowing nothing still.
Yeah,
it is a good example of cosmic horror, which is still very close to home in a way.
Definitely.
Even this threat that's coming in 3,000 years, that itself is a cosmic horror type thing, because we're not going to be here to see that.
No.
What's the world going to look like in 3,000 years? Do you know what I mean? It
could be extinct.
In itself, that's a cosmic horror. Yeah.
Yeah, which is... They're going to be really pissed if they show up. Oh, shit. They're all dead. Right, let's fuck off. Jesus. Do you know what? I liked the names that were given to the heptapods.
Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, the fact that they were named after comedians whose most famous routine is based on miscommunication. I thought that was a nice wee touch.
Plus, they kind of resemble Abbott and Costello a bit. Like, one of them's a bit taller and skinnier and talks a bit less.
Yeah.
And one of them's shorter and fatter and talks a bit more.
Yeah, I like that. Sort of comedy and horror mixed together, which we seem to be finding a lot of nowadays.
Yeah.
With
I wonder why that is.
Jordan Peele and Todd Phillips and people like that. I don't know. Because they're both trying to tell you something, I guess.
Yeah, that's true. They're trying to subvert your expectations in a way.
Definitely. Is this the best depiction of time travel?
That is an interesting question. Because in a way it is time travel, in a way it isn't.
Yeah.
It's not like she's actually stepping into the TARDIS, going to 20 years in the future, then coming back again. She just is aware of what's happening in the future, sort of thing.
Yeah.
So it's not quite time travel. It's like existing contemporaneously. Like is Dr. Manhattan, for example, is he constantly time traveling throughout his whole life? Because to him, 1965 is the same as 1975, is the same as 1985, 95. Do you know what I mean?
So it's almost like space, time, and the alien sort of perspective is just space. It's not waiting for a long time to get to where you need to be. It's like you can just basically walk there. In their perspective. So, you can still travel in time in that context, but it's not wrought with all the sort of paradoxes that you get. Yeah. It's just, time changes and the future changes. It's not like if you step in a bug, it'll destroy humanity or something like that. It's just like...
But then that raises the question, if these aliens, the heptapods, if they can kind of sort of see what we would consider to be the future, then can they influence that future? Like you say, that even things like the butterfly effect, step on a butterfly and then World War III happens as a direct result, in a way. Or even bigger things, like could they see, such and such is going to become a dictator, we'd better kill him now before that can happen, sort of thing. Is that a possible thing? Or do they see all the potential futures all in one place?
Maybe they do but they wouldn't if time changed so frequently, they probably wouldn't be coming back to say, look, there's going to be a mass threat in 3,000 years. It's like, are they there? Are they actually there telling us that? Or is that just their minds just sort of casting back? It's really weird. That's what I love about it. It's just so unknown. It's so alien, and it's really interesting watching us as human beings try and figure out what they're about.
And I do like another thing that makes them quite alien is this heptapod nature. They have 7 legs, and each leg has 7 feet.
Yeah.
The number 7 doesn't turn up at all in nature, really, because it's like a prime number. It's not really divisible by anything. It's not a nice number that people like in a way.
Yeah.
And so it's alien. If having 7 of something feels a bit weird and wrong, and like you wouldn't make 7 cupcakes, you'd make a dozen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
This is very much a human this is something we've taught ourselves over centuries of evolution and whatever. It's not an inbuilt thing in nature, I don't think, but
it's learned.
It's learned. It's a learnt behaviour, but it just makes them all that more different and weird.
Yeah, I agree. Do you have any questions?
I sort of do, yeah. Would you, Daniel Kerr, want to be present for first contact with aliens?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Would you?
I don't know. Because, on the one hand, yes, I would love to be there in the field with the spaceship or whatever, and watching, what is it in Close Encounters? He plays a song on the keyboard, or whatever it is. Love to be watching that. But on the same level, would you want to be on the front lines? Like in this film, First Contact is pictured as much more scary. Like, Amy Adams goes inside the big almond-shaped spaceship, and it's depicted as a much more scary... How do you mean?
It has no corners, and it's almost like an oval.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, there's no. Yeah, that's weird. But it's depicted as a much more scary sort of thing. It's much more of an ordeal than we might consider First Contact to be.
Yeah,
and I suppose it depends. Like in Star Trek, this is explained away by saying all of these races we encounter in Star Trek all have a common ancestor. So that's why they all look quite similar and speak in similar ways and have a similar sort of dialect and syntax and manner of speaking and whatever.
Yeah, they're
humanoid. But if these aliens are so... Yeah, exactly. And if these aliens are so different, it's going to be much more difficult to communicate, much more easy to misinterpret, and the alien's going to fire their big space laser at your face or whatever. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. If aliens ever come to Earth, they'll probably just be really pissed off. It's like, you've never even met us, and you've made like 1 million films on how evil we all are. You don't even know what we look like. It's like, I'd be pissed off if I was an alien. It's that other Doctor Who quote.
There's a horror movie called Alien.
There's a horror movie called Alien. That's really offensive. No wonder people keep invading you. So, yeah. I mean, some invasions aren't as just as others.
Indeed.
But yeah, it's I'd imagine if First Contact does happen, I just don't think that it would be this big sort of roll out the red carpet. There's massive big ships in the sky. I'd imagine it would be just a chance thing, like just a small sort of explorer force just lands by accident and says, "Oh shit, what's this?" You know, because that's what I would guess it to be, and they'd probably like us think that the universe is uninhabitable, and then just come across this strange little world with these strange little people on it. But oh shit, what's this? Which would be almost nicer than the whole big sort of official, and the ramp goes down, and the tube-headed thing comes out and then looks at us for a couple of minutes and then starts killing us. Which is sort of in the vein of what they tried to do with this film. I mean, it's not like, oh, what's this? There's a big purpose to it, but it's you instantly think that the aliens are going to attack, and that's what most people went into the film thinking, because there's so many films where it's just big aliens shooting shit and killing people, and then they die of the flu or something like that. But
so that's the subversion into, actually, they want to teach us and they want to learn from us. And
and they need our help, which is kind of strange, but kind of nice.
Yeah, you're right. It is kind of strange and kind of nice.
Yeah.
I'm just scrolling through the Google image search results now. It's like,
I thought we were at a crossroad. I was like,
No, go on, Cocker.
The way the public reacts of stealing stuff and stockpiling, it's just so relevant to the way things are just now. Obviously, obviously not as extreme. It reminds me of a quote from Men in Black. A person is smart and is rational and will think about the consequences of his or her actions, but people are stupid, dumb, blind animals. And in groups, we just become these feral, creatures just
Yeah.
just scavenging at anything. It's like, oh my god, the world's ending. Come on, we'll go out and rob some stores and stuff like that. Whereas if you just sit on your own and think, wait a minute, do I want to do that? Do I? Let's just think about it.
You sort of realise, actually, no, that's a dumb idea.
Yeah, which is why I would argue that all negotiation requires a sort of almost one-on-one presence.
Yeah, as few people as possible.
Yeah, because could you imagine the scared public just shouting at these aliens? What are you doing here? What are you doing? You know, some people are shouting, "Do you like pasta?" Some people are shouting, "Do you want independence for Scotland?" You know, just their own paranoid fears shoved on it. Whereas if it's just an objective, what are you doing here? And what would you like? And this is why we are here. You know, it's just better for everyone.
Yeah.
It's kind of a soppy film in that respect.
It kind of is a bit, yeah. It has this message of sort of human trust and compassion, and which is a nice thing to see in an alien incursion type film.
Yeah, I'm not complaining. It's a very good film, and it's a nice wee change.
Oh yeah, this is something that's very briefly mentioned in the film, but never really discussed at any great length. Do you think there was a rhyme or reason to where the alien ships landed on the planet? Because they mentioned briefly it was something to do with lightning strikes or something like that, which I thought could be some kind of a probe, maybe. The aliens sent out some kind of a lightning-based probe. But, like, obviously we don't know. Do you think there was a reason for that, or was it just random?
Do we have a list of where they landed?
Not off the top of my head. Let me have a Google.
Yeah, have a wee Google. Because it may just be that they part nearest like, the biggest governments in the world. And we're just like, here you go, here's our messages. Was it how many ships were there?
8, I think.
Was it 8?
Although it would make more sense if it was 7.
Yeah, you would think, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Okay, I can't find a list of the places that the planes, the spaceships land in Arrival. Although I like your idea of they just sort of found some governments and chose to just be near them.
Yeah.
We think that these people might be the most sensible and whatever it might be sort of thing.
Yeah. I mean, that's probably the most logic. That's probably what I would do if I was looking for some help. I'd probably just sort of spread out a wee bit and see what this place is about. Not going to ask random Joe Blogs in the street. Here, do you understand this? An attack 3,000 years. What? Do you support Scottish independence?
Do you think we should have pasta straws for the bar down the road?
Do you like bees?
How much of a weird build-up would it have been if the entire film was just built up and built up and built up to Amy Adams asking, "Why are you here?" And then it was, "Do you like bees?" instead.
Simon from the Yogscast voice just booms through the speakers across the world, and that's just repeated over and over again. Do you like bees? And China is finally right. Fuck this, we're bombing them. Just that would have been a great ending. That's the director's cut. B version, B movie. B-roll. There's a great video. It's a sort of side note that I recommend that you watch.
Yeah, sure.
By a YouTuber called Philosophy Tube.
Okay.
And it's called it's a bit political, and it's called Brexit. What is democracy? And it talks about how the film and how sort of different interpretations of things can be misconstrued because people have their own sort of ideas. It's a great video, and it's it gives a great sort of understanding of the film as well. So I recommend that you give it a wee watch.
Sure.
Yeah.
I shall take a look. Treat myself.
Well, Lewis, it's that time again where I talk about how shit people are.
Okay.
Do we want to be violent? Is there a desire for conflict in the human psyche?
I would have to say no. There is not a desire for violence in the human psyche. I think there's a desperation in the human psyche to some extent. I think when you don't have the things you select to be necessary in some way, if you say like in this film, they don't have the understanding of why this alien presence is in their country, so as a result, they're reacting badly to that. And saying, "Oh God, I suppose we should just bomb it, get rid of it. I don't want it. Get rid of it." I don't think there's a desire for violence. I think it's something that that originates from desperation almost.
Yeah, just survive by any means necessary. It's sort of tribal, sort of look after your patch type thing.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you got any thoughts on that, or?
Well, I think there is. I think that there's just far too much violence.
Sure.
For there not to be a sort of people like being violent as a whole. I think, even if they don't admit it, I think there's just a sort of evolutionary or not. I just think that we've evolved to be sort of very competitive, and just sort of we'll kill anyone that tries to take what we think is ours.
Sure.
I think that's pretty ingrained at this point. But I'm sure everything's fine. I'm sure everything's lovely. But yeah, that's Danny rants about how shit people.
Danny rants about humanity.
Yeah, we need a wee what do you call it? A wee jingle for that one.
Danny rants about humanity.
Yeah, Danny rants about humanity.
Yeah, there we go. Perfect. Yeah, I'll cut that round your rant about humanity, and it'll be all sorted. Perfect.
Perfect. Yeah. Something wrong with me, Lewis. I need help.
This film does raise in me several questions about the nature of language, and about how the pointlessness of words in a way. Like, letters are just lines that we have designated meaning to. If that I know that's a very obvious thing to say, but
yeah,
why does a long letter with a curl at the end, and then a shorter line with striking through it, why does that make a t sound? Why have we decided that? You study enough like Earth-based languages, it's human language, and you're like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. All these letters are essentially just random, pointless things. They don't mean anything. But then you watch something like this that completely turns the concept of communication on its head. I really admire this film for that. How it's sort of a completely different way to look at communication.
Yeah.
Because you talk about people that make languages for films and stuff, and they talk about subject, verb, object, which are the three components of a sentence and whatever, and how in Klingon they're a certain way round, and in the Romulan language they're a different way round, and in English they're a certain way round, in Spanish they're different, and go on and go on and go on. But this completely turns it on its head to be something that we don't even recognise as words. Like, you look at Chinese characters and you can sort of see, okay, I can tell this is writing. I can tell that that's what this is. They're trying to convey some meaning in this. Even if you don't understand what the lines mean or whatever it might be. But you look at this, and this doesn't even look like writing. This could just be a portrait on someone's wall. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Tolkien, who wrote Lord of the Rings, created a number of his own languages, understood that really well. There's just a single word could mean like a sentence in some of his languages. There's a word called Alakabeth, and I think it's in Sindarin, which is an Elvish language, and it translates to the downfall of Numenor. So it's just one word that has another made up word in it, but the made up word is also got its own language, so it's translated from another language.
Yeah.
By another sort of brand of Elvish, and there's like 4 branches of Elvish. It's like Quenya, there's Sindarin, there's some other one, I can't remember them off the top of my head, but they don't look, words, they're often lit in circles.
Sure.
Which sort of, makes it harder to to understand. But Tolkien understood languages very well and was fascinated by them. So I'd imagine he'd probably like the film.
And other circular-based languages like Gallifreyan, the Time Lord language from Doctor Who, that's always written in circles, which is bizarre because I don't think anybody's ever sat down and written down, okay, these are the rules for Gallifreyan. So I don't think that's ever happened. It's definitely something.
It would take you fucking ages to write as well. Can you imagine being in school on Gallifrey? Right, okay, I want you to write a 10,000 word essay. Each circle would take you about 10 minutes. So
I think the idea is that each circle is like a sentence, I think, or a word, or I'm not sure.
Maybe even a paragraph.
Maybe. But then you even like I think it's when Twitter upped the character limit from 140 to 280, there was something about because Chinese characters are a lot more sort of information dense than Western languages.
Yeah.
Plus, there's something about Chinese. I think it's I might be completely wrong with this, but I think I'm somewhere in the right ballpark. I think it's not you can't. There's no clue on how to pronounce the word by looking at how it's written down. The language, a certain symbol has a certain meaning, but because there's a lot of different dialects of Chinese, then it becomes different symbols will be pronounced different ways depending on where you're from or what dialect you're practicing or whatever. I think, but because the character limit on Twitter is now 280, apparently, like Chinese tweets can be like incredibly long novels, right? Writing novels on Twitter and stuff like that because it's this incredible amount of characters for that.
I'm working on a book. Oh, really? Oh, have you got a publisher? Yes, Twitter.
I'm tweeting out my latest book at 7 p.m. this week.
How long is the book? 300,000 words. And it's like five symbols. That is so cool. Now that I think about that so much meaning is packed into one symbol. Obviously, I know it's not to that extent, but it means maybe a sentence or something like that.
Yeah, it really is cool.
Or a combination of words. I think that's so cool. That people can just see that one symbol and are just immediately like, oh yeah. I think that's really amazing.
That is super cool. Do you have any thoughts on the design of the alien ship in this movie?
Well, as I said, it sort of connects to the sort of endless type thing.
Sure.
And it doesn't. Most ships that you see in sci-fi films, there's always a front and a back.
Yeah, like the Enterprise, or
yeah, as if it's like a naval ship. But with these things, it doesn't matter where they are. It's like they could be floating about regardless of what. But there's always a pressure to sort of you have to look at you have to get a zoom in of the Enterprise as it goes into battle.
Yeah.
Mode. Whereas this thing will just float, almost like it's again just endless and just doesn't cease, which is kind of creepy.
Oh, definitely. And I think it's they proposed the idea of travelling in 3D space very well because it's something that's quite hard for humans to sort of visualise because we live a very two-dimensional life in a way. Like if you and I were to meet in town or whatever, but let's meet at the corner of this street and this street or whatever. But at no point would either of us say, okay, how high up? Do you want me to go below the ground or up in the air somewhere? It's a crazy thing to think. So having a perfectly sort of symmetrical ship that's this sort of perfect shape, that makes a lot more sense in a way than having a very pointy ship. Because ships meeting in 3D space, coming to certain coordinates, they wouldn't meet perfect face to face like two boats would. It'd be one would be in a given plane, and one might be coming from what looks like above it. But that second ship is coming from a standard plane for it, if that makes sense.
It's almost like the sea. It's like a small, thin, oval pebble. It's probably going to get more. It's probably going to get further than a huge, big, jagged, non-linear, just randomly placed rock. Just just sort of blundering along. Whereas this sort of elegant, almost oval is just sort of floating through and doesn't have to be anywhere but where it has to be. That's It's going to get you around more. It's probably far more efficient technology-wise.
Yeah.
I have another question.
Hit me.
What do you think the threat is that's so dire that these things that are clearly more advanced than we could ever hope to be need our help?
I don't know. The thing I keep coming back to is perhaps it's some kind of a disease. Because the only thing I can think of that you might need 3,000 years to prepare for, it's like, oh, well, there's an asteroid on the way. So, okay, well, we'll send a missile to knock it out of orbit. You might need that much of a run-up. You might need a 3,000-year run-up to actually get the missile there. But, like, needing 3,000 years of pure preparation, that's a lot of science, that's a lot of effort, that's a lot of R&D. Yeah. I keep thinking maybe some kind of disease. I don't know. You need to formulate some kind of antidote for. I really don't know.
Might even be just a ploy.
Maybe.
The aliens
maybe there's nothing in 3,000 years.
Yeah, maybe that was their end game the entire time. It was just, no, we need to get you working together because you've been stuck in the petri dish for far too long now.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to stop
maybe that's a good point I hadn't quite considered. Is like maybe these aliens, Abbott and Costello, are just sort of spokespeople from the intergalactic UN or whatever.
Yeah.
They're essentially the Jadoon from Doctor Who. They're like space police that come down and say, oh yeah, in 3,000 years there's definitely going to be some crazy, weird threat, so you all need to work together and get yourself going and warm up and get cleverer and get more advanced, and then in 3,000 years you'll be ready to deal with this threat, whatever it might be. And at that point, they'll say, oh, actually, yeah, there was no threat all along. We just wanted to get you more evolved.
Yeah.
Because you've been squabbling amongst yourselves for millennia. Come on now. We needed you to hurry up a bit.
I imagine that the heptapods have probably got a bit more grace and decorum than the Jadoon. You know.
Probably, yes.
I mean, their language is just really aggressive to start off
monosyllabic things, yeah.
Yeah, they shout it at you, and it's like single words. It's just, you can just imagine them shouting, fuck you, just like really loud. Ho, so, ho, ho. Just like really, it's accusation. It's never any calm down. Let's just talk about this rationally.
Yeah.
They're just shouting at your face.
And it's about how that language is like, it has like a rhythm to it as well. But then there's that one episode of Doctor Who where David Tennant speaks Jadoon language to the Jadoon. And there's this one string of words he says very, very quickly. Like he says something in the duh, 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 duh. And then after that it's da 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 da. And he says something very quickly. And that the interesting thing about that is, well, is there some kind of a pace-based communication going on? A speed-based language or something?
What was it?
But then you have to think, I have no idea at all.
Was it like Buzzasudaguda Fuckajo or something like that? And then
I have no idea.
He finished it off when they put their guns down. He was like, "Maho," which is like, "Thank you, maybe."
Thank you or much obliged.
Cheers, big boy. Spelt
Cheers,
with an
Cocker.
I. Cheers, big boy.
Thanks, boy.
That's if first contact comes and they tell us of a fucking impending threat, that's what I want a reply to be. Cheers, boy. cheers, big man. Cheers, my dude. No, I would love to see first contact. I mean, obviously, if we can survive it and it leads to good stuff, not the H.G. Wells first contact where we're all sort of stood on a common and then get heat rayed to death. That wouldn't be good. I wouldn't like that.
No, it would not be good.
That would dampen my week a little bit.
Was it the I think it's Star Trek First Contact. The Vulcans decide to first contact the humans based on their technological progress. As soon as somebody can develop warp speed travel, like faster than light travel, then they are worthy of being accepted into the intergalactic community. So maybe that does take me back to my weird hypothesis about Abbott and Costello, saying, "Well, we are clever, so yep, you're welcome into the space UN." Yeah,
which is kind of good because
It's kind of good. It's kind of elitist, but good.
Yeah, but see, that's another good point that Philosophy Tube brings up. It's not about Brexit or anything. It's like democracy itself. It's like, what's his name again? Oliver Thorne. The guy's name is. He's an actor like ourselves, Lewis. And he basically argues for and against democracy being for everyone to decide, or people who are maybe trained from birth by philosophers and by moral thinkers to be in charge, and it's those people that run society. And that's the argument. Is it people who know what or supposedly know what they're doing and have been trained and have the best morals and the best ethics and blah 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 blah, or should it be power for the people, regardless of their whatever they say goes, and that's mob rule? Is that the way it should be, or is it the other way? And that's what I think.
There is something to be said about like the pace at which technological breakthroughs come. I think there's something to be said there in that if things happen too quickly, if aliens came down to Earth and said, "Here's the key to infinite energy and faster than light travel," or whatever it might be, at that point, then you haven't earned it. You don't appreciate it in a funny way.
Yeah.
Like, the only reason we appreciate that nobody is dying of polio anymore is because it's sort of in the history books of people used to die from polio all the fucking time. Do you know what I mean? And now that doesn't happen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's something that we appreciate because we know how bad it used to be. But if it's just overnight, it goes from being, well, thank God we haven't got that anymore, to, well, what can we do with all of this power? We're suddenly really all-powerful. What can we possibly do?
You take it for granted and you don't sort of realise if you lost all this, you'd have very little. And it's... fuck, I forgot what I was going to say. God. Well, maybe I'll remember it one day. I'll bring it up in a future podcast, just randomly.
Okay.
This is what I meant. But I think it's an interesting argument, and it's not one that I'm entirely made my mind up on. It's like moral thinkers who are very few, who are trained from birth for the job, or the whims of the masses. So I think it's very interesting, and it plays into the film very well, because if the public had their way, they would raid the ship, kill the aliens, and take what they could, because they were so afraid of what these things might do. But the experts, for a lack of a better pejorative, the elitists, they worked it out on their own, quietly, solitarily, individually, and managed to come to a solution.
And sort of tried to spread it with the world, share it with everybody, sort of thing. Yeah.
So
I like this film a lot. It raises some very interesting thoughts and points
really
about like first contact and the difference between such and such. I really like it.
So do I. And I think I have run out of notes.
I think I have run out of notes as well. Have you got a closing statement?
I do have a closing statement.
That's convenient.
Yes. It's almost as if we planned for this. Language and interpretation of it are very important. If you've made up your mind too quickly about someone or something, consider whether it's bias or the result of logic and reason.
Very good. One of my favourite sci-fi films. I love considering First Contact and what that could possibly mean for the human race. Will we progress? Will we infight? What will happen? I like this film poses brilliant questions about First Contact. I like that it poses unanswered questions. A lot of the time in First Contact situations, we're always presuming that we will be able to communicate with the alien. Okay, well,
Yeah.
presuming the alien can speak English, it's learned from our TV broadcasts or whatever.
Yeah.
Then what do we say? But this raises the question of who can speak with the alien quickest.
Exactly.
That's a hurdle to overcome before you can even start asking things like, how do we travel faster than light, and whatever it might be. Yeah. I like this film a lot. I've watched it several times. I'm probably going to watch it a million more times. It's dead good.
Yeah. And it speaks to our own past as well. It's like, I imagine that the the indigenous people or the Aboriginals who were conquered were probably in the same position as the humans. The sort of Western humanity or the sort of modern humanity in our world. It's like they wanted desperately to communicate and talk, but there's this fear, and it often happens that a race with better technology just comes and just wipes them out. And that in this film, that's what you're expecting because it's ingrained so much in our history. But then they sort of curveball it and just say, no, it's about what happens if you ignore conversation and communication.
Yeah.
Which is lovely. It's very heartwarming, I think.
Indeed it is.
Well, we've got a few things to talk about, don't we, Lewis?
We do have a few things to talk about. Go on, Cocker, kick things off.
Well, I don't know if you noticed, folks, but we released some cool new art on Friday. It's not Friday now, but it will be. Because time is endless and all that.
Yeah, it's a time is a circle and stuff.
And it was it's Lewis and I drinking tea behind a Rick and Morty portal, and it's really cool. We're very happy with it, and it looks amazing.
It really does.
It was designed by a company called C137 Designs. I've tagged them in the post that I've put up. I think Lewis has as well.
I have indeed.
And you should definitely check them out. Give them a follow and get one for yourself. Because
they are very cool.
They're just really fucking cool to have. To be
Indeed,
honest.
the designs are fantastic. It's having commissioned art is brilliant. It's a very, very personal thing in a way. Like for a while ago, my wife got me as a gift a piece of art that was me and her. It was commissioned by she commissioned an artist to make this piece of art, and we've got it framed in the bedroom. It's absolutely beautiful. It's a present I really, really love. If you know somebody that likes Rick and Morty, maybe they would enjoy a C137 design. It's really good. Go and check them out. Even if you're not thinking about getting something from them, their designs are fantastic. Really, really worth a look. Go and check them out.
Definitely. What else? What else in the agenda, Lewis?
Well, we're switching up the schedule a bit, aren't we, Cocker?
Yes,
we're doing we're talking more bullshit is what we're going to do, because we enjoyed doing that one. It was a nice change of pace from, okay, now we have to regimentedly talk about a film and whatever it might be. So we're going to do more bullshit. We're going to do every other week. There's going to be some bullshit. We're going to pick a topic and talk bullshit for about an hour. So we hope you like that. We hope it goes well. If people like it, we'll do more. If people don't, we will do less. That is the way of it. Yep. And we are still going to do film podcasts. That is ostensibly what we're still talking about. But we're going to do...
films are going to be shit.
Yes.
On the shit ones.
We're going to try and alternate Shit Sundays and Showcase Sundays. This was a Showcase Sunday because we really like Arrival. It's a dead good film. We're going to have to pick a shit film to do next time.
Imagine we just outed it as Arrival shite. I hated it. Next week will be a Showcase Sunday. Fuck. What film will we do? We're doing it live.
I am not sure.
Live.
I was thinking maybe Justice League because I haven't seen it. It's supposed to be shit. God. I don't know.
Lewis, I have to disagree with you in this one.
Oh, is it not? Is it good?
Can I tell? No, it's shit. And can I tell you why? Can I tell you why I disagree with you on it?
Go on.
Because I'm so sick and tired of being disappointed by DC films.
I see.
I want. Can we do one that's fun and shit?
Of course. What have you got in mind?
It just depresses me that one of my favourite fandoms is being killed. let's see. I'm looking at the worst films of all time right now. Let's see.
I've got to do a romantic Christmas-themed heist movie. That's what we need to do.
Fucking hell.
Starring Ben Stiller and Jennifer Aniston. That's what we need to aim for.
My greatest nemesis. Come on. Let's see. Right. Okay. There's one called The Room.
Okay.
This that is considered the worst film of all time.
Okay.
And it's a 2003 film. I'll read a bit of it. They independently produced The Room, about an amiable banker whose friends betray him one by one, has been called the Citizen Kane of bad films. The Guardian, Vox, The Washington Post, ABC Australia, and I can't read that. Called it the worst film ever made. It's a black comedy and it has many flaws, but it has a cult following because of how shit it is, and it's pretty famous apparently. So we could do that if you want, Lewis.
Yeah, sure thing. We'll do The Room.
You've got a better one.
I do not have a better one. The Room is next.
Right, brilliant, excellent. So we're doing The Room. Yeah, but we'll tell you what's happening for the 30th, the Big 10, the big decade one.
The big 3-0.
Yeah. So. Yeah. Fuck. I'm confused. What is life? What is time? And we're back to the palindrome, Lewis.
Very
neatly
nice.
Compartmentalised. Back to it. What time is it? It's 1:08. Yep, we've padded out. It was a flaw, folks. It was a flaw. My confusion was a flaw. You all fell for it.
We hope you very much enjoyed this film. We hope you enjoyed Arrival. We hope you enjoyed this podcast. We've got a bit of shilling to do. Is it shilling o'clock?
It is shilling o'clock. I am on Instagram at O'Hiram. I'm on Facebook at Daniel Kerr. I'm on Twitter at Kerzo2000. What are you on, Lewis?
I am on Instagram at Lewis_Brindley, Twitter at LewisBrindley4, and Facebook is Lewis Brindley. Go check me out. I do stuff sometimes.
Yes.
The podcast is hosted by Podomatic. We are on Spotify. We're on Apple Podcasts. We are on Deezer, we found out, which is nice. We also have a YouTube channel, Shouting Into the Void. We upload old episodes of the podcast, new episodes of the podcast. Loads of stuff. Go and check it out. It's dead good.
Yeah, you can find the links in our bio.
Indeed you can.
Yep, and we have a PayPal donate button. We have a Patreon. Anything you can spare in this tough time. We love doing this, don't we, Lewis?
We do. We really, really do.
And anything you could spare would just mean the fucking world to us.
Indeed it would.
So, yeah, if you can, anything you can spare would be great.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, other than that, we shall hear you, see you next week for The Room.
Indeed we will. Yes, The Room. Why, hey.
The Room! And obviously, Better Call Saul on Tuesday.
Yes.
Yeah, which was filmed before this, because time is endless. Woo!
Very good, Danny. Come on, we've got to get you back to the home now, Dan. Come on.
Are we going back to play with Lego now?
Thank you for listening.
See you later. Thank you.